All right, hello and welcome. I'm April Pope, certified financial planner and personal CFO. Today's session is called Taxes and Timing, Year-End Stock Moves for Women in Biotech. So excited about our call today. We are going to talk about something that many professionals in your industry have, which is company stock. So, specifically, how RSUs, ISOs, and NSOs work, and all those letters and what they mean for your taxes and what to look for before year end. So, of course, the goal is not to turn you into a tax expert. We know that, but it's really to help you understand where stock fits into like your bigger financial picture and what to review before December 31st. So everything we'll cover today is for educational purposes only. I'm not giving individual advice. I have to say that. Think of this as really like a framework to help you have better conversations with your CPA or your tax preparer or your financial planner. So let's go ahead and get started. As the year winds down, a lot can happen financially. You already have a bunch of stuff going on personally, I'm sure, as the year winds down, but financially, you may have some bonuses or some vesting or some open enrollment or charitable giving or some tax deadlines. I mean, there's a lot. And if you have company stock, those year-end events can have a real impact on your tax situation. For example, let's start with the RSUs. Maybe you have some of those, and we'll get into the details later, but maybe they might vest in December, which creates some taxable income. Or an option might expire if you don't act by year end. So many people find out in April that something that happened in December, they didn't really have a plan for. So that's what we want to help you avoid. By checking in now before year end, you can make intentional choices about maybe what to sell, what to hold, and how to plan ahead for your taxes. We don't want anything surprising us, right? All right, let's start with understanding your company stock. So we've got these letters, RSUs, ISOs, NSOs, all the things. Let's break it down into three main types of company stock you might have: RSUs, ISOs, or ISOs, and NSOs. So RSUs are restricted stock units. So I really like them. It's kind of, I don't want to say I like the RSUs, but the name restricted tells you it's kind of restricted. It's stock and you're going to get a unit, like a share of it. At least it tells what it is. So I would say these are the most common in biotech that we see with clients. And when they vest, you automatically receive these shares. And the value of those shares counts as ordinary income at that time. Pretty simple. Sometimes your employer may withhold taxes at this time, but often it's a flat rate and that may not fully cover your tax bill. Then we have ISOs, incentive stock options. So these are a bit more complex. You're granted the right to buy shares at a specific price, the set price, and called the exercise price is what they call it. And when you exercise your ISOs and hold those shares for at least a year, after you exercise them in 2 years from when they were granted to you, you may qualify for long-term capital gains instead of ordinary income. And we know and usually long-term capital gains are a lot lower rates than ordinary income rates. So also, you do want to consider, though, by exercising ISOs, you can trigger something called alternative minimum tax, or AMT. So make sure you talk with your tax preparer or provider about that. And then finally, we're going to talk about non-qualified stock options, NSOs. So these are also rights to buy shares at a specific price. But when you exercise these, the difference between your exercise price and the market value counts as ordinary income right away. So NSOs don't have that same long-term tax advantage like ISOs do, but they are a little bit simpler, if you will. So in short, RSUs, they're taxed when they vest. ISOs, possible tax advantage, but a little bit more complex. You got to do some timing there. And then NSOs are taxed when they're exercised. So knowing which option you have is step one. What type do you have? We get a lot of calls where folks are like, I need help. I've got company stock. I don't know what it is. I'm like, oh, great. I can't wait. I love to get in these conversations. I'm like, cool. Are we talking like ISOs? Or are we talking about like restricted stock units? Or are we talking about, and they're like, I have a deferred comp package. Can you look through it? So we know that not everybody nerds out over these all the time. We love talking about this stuff. So we understand. No judgment. We will help you figure out exactly what you have. So once you figure out which one you have, what type you have, then you want to note what those key dates are. So like your grant date, your vesting date, your exercise date, your sale date, because those determine when and kind of how taxes are going to apply. It's all about taxes here. So really want to talk about this role of timing when it comes to equity compensation. So getting paid in some kind of stock, equity compensation. Timing isn't just about the calendar, it's about how long you hold those shares and when the taxable event occurs. So let me give you an example. RSUs are simple. Taxable event happens automatically when they vest. You got a vesting schedule, you hit the vesting schedule, you look on your statement, you're vested. That was a taxable event. With ISOs and NSOs, you control when to exercise those, and your timing determines when you pay ordinary or capital gains tax. So that's why it's a little trickier. So let me give you an example. If your company stock price has gone way up since you were granted your options, exercising those ISOs and holding them long enough could qualify for long-term capital gains, and that's a lower tax rate. So if you just think about it, if you sell too soon from when you exercise those, then it's just going to become ordinary income. So that's why planning, and think about where your ordinary income tax bracket is. I don't know about you, but the tax brackets for income, while you're working and maybe there's more than one person in the household bringing in an income, you might be in a higher tax bracket. So all those shares, you want to make sure if you're selling, you're going to be paying ordinary income tax. It'd be like getting another job. Like whatever amount you made from that, it would be taxed as income. So that's why planning before year end can make a real difference. It's really understanding like when to act, or sometimes when to wait. That's just as important as when to act. So let's go over some of the common mistakes we see our professionals make with company stock. Number one is ignoring vesting and expiration dates. So letting options expire or being surprised by those RSUs that I told you that vest right away. That's number one. And number two, we see selling without understanding your cost basis, which can lead to overpaying in taxes. And number three, we see not coordinating with your CPA or your tax preparer, which can really lead to unexpected tax bills in April. And trust me, these tax preparers, they are just amazing. When you find a good one, that consider yourself fortunate. But they don't like surprises either. So they might be doing your tax planning and projections and things, even if you have a CFP that's doing your tax planning. And they have, they're looking at the end of the year like, okay, it looks like everything's tracking on pretty well. And then you surprise them when you come in there and you're like, oh, by the way, I exercised like $100,000 worth of shares, went ahead and sold them and did something and bought some cars or whatever. And they're like, okay, let's talk through that. So just remember, surprises are not really what your financial professionals love to have, because they could have helped plan a little bit better for that. And of course, we want to be able to save you in taxes if we can. So all of these things are really just avoidable when we're talking about with awareness. So awareness now and making those decisions can save, headaches in the future. So I'm saying that you need to review things before year end. So what the heck, April, what do I need to review? I'm so glad you asked. So as you're reviewing your finances before December 31st, focus on 1, check your most recent pay stub, especially if any of those RSUs vested recently or you received a bonus, because then you'll be able to see what your taxable income is looking like for the year. 2, review your vesting schedule. So note any shares vesting in December or maybe early next year, just so you're aware of those. Number 3, you can check your expiration dates. So they typically expire 10 years after being granted, but just check it. You want to make sure you have paperwork on all of this. Number 4, talk to your CPA or tax preparer, especially if you exercised or sold any stock this year. Let them know ahead of time. Nobody's here to judge. We're here to just help you and make sure you keep the most money you can in your pocket. So let them know ahead of time what happened. 5, organize your documents. So they might be spread over your office. We've had people before where they, pre-COVID, they were in the office all the time, then everything filed somewhere there, then they moved home and haven't come back to the office. So finding grant agreements or vesting confirmations or transaction records or anything like that, it's important to start organizing them and maybe put some of that stuff online in secure vaults or on secure online. So, all right. As we talked about, awareness is power. So as we wrap up, company stock is an amazing benefit. It's awesome. But it's often misunderstood, and a lot of people have company stock as a part of their compensation plan. So the key takeaway today is awareness. Let's be aware. Know what kind of stocks you have. Understand when the taxable event happens for that type of stock option you have or whatever kind of company equity compensation you have, and stay on top of those key dates. So you don't have to make big moves, you don't have to take this weekend and go figure all this out. Just know what's coming up. That's going to help make you feel a little bit more in control. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this helped you feel a little more informed and confident heading into the year end. And of course, my compliance would be proud of me. Everything here is for educational purposes, and I'm not giving individual tax or investment advice. Thanks for joining. I'm April Pope, Certified Financial Planner and Personal CFO. Have a great day.